If I were to ask you to define what it means to be a man, what would you think? Would you answer with physical traits like big muscles, broad shoulders, or maybe a deep voice? Perhaps you might mention other traits like being tough, independent, or having that chest-puffing confidence. Although many countries may interpret masculinity differently, throughout history, these traits have long been established as universal indicators of manliness in the West. Men are regularly expected to conform to these traits without straying away from what's considered manly. This leads to others that don't fit the mold to be viewed as weak or feminine. These traditional views often tie masculinity into a rigid box, leaving little to no room for expression and vulnerability. Think about the times that you've been called gay or girly for doing something that didn't fit the norm. Imagine if these labels didn't matter and being a man didn't come with the rulebook on how to look, act, or feel. In today's timeline, a new vision of masculinity is being brought to light. Stemming from South Korea's entertainment industry, K-pop, or Korean pop, and Korean culture have become a global force within the past few decades. There's actually a term for this called Hallyu, meaning the Korean wave. It refers to the phenomenon of the rapidly spreading Korean media, music, fashion, and entertainment across the world. It's more than just catchy music and flashy choreographed performances that gain attention. I want to talk about the heart of this Korean wave. You've probably heard of them from somewhere, whether it be topping global music charts and breaking records, or trending on Twitter for new collaborations with Western artists. Korea's poster boy band, BTS, or 방탄소년단, literally translating to Bulletproof Boy Scouts, have become icons for amplifying a new kind of masculinity. They aren't just pushing boundaries of pop culture, but play a part into redefining what it's like to be a man. In the past, I hated the idea of K-pop, let alone BTS. I thought they looked too pretty to be men. Seeing a group of boys wearing makeup and their sense of style didn't sit right with me. It was hard to understand why people found them so appealing, but I couldn't ignore the global hype and crazy fan base that they had, so I wanted to understand, and I gave them a chance. I ended up learning a lot, which is what I'm going to be discussing about. In the West, men are taught to believe that expressing vulnerability makes them weak. There's phrases like "man up" and "boys don't cry" that are commonly used when growing up, suggesting that we hide our emotions typically when we're struggling or in pain. BTS uses their music as a platform to confront these issues. Songs like Epiphany and The Truth Untold lyrically reflect the struggle some men face with their identity, self-worth, and personal challenges. In Epiphany, Jin sings, "I'm the one I should love in this world." As a part of the chorus, highlighting the importance of self-love and the idea of embracing your own flaws. Similarly, in The Truth Untold, when Jungkook says, I wore a mask again and went to see you. Alluding to the idea of hiding your true self to avoid being vulnerable. The line reflects his internal struggle with wanting to present himself authentically, but feeling obligated to hide himself because of the fear of embarrassment and the possibility of being rejected or judged. Furthermore, RM, the group's leader, has opened up about his depression, sharing that feelings of loneliness can be overwhelming. He states that if people talk about it, then it will be more accepted. Their honesty about emotional vulnerability is what resonates with millions, allowing fans to feel seen and heard. By encouraging openness with mental health and self-approval, BTS not only challenge the harmful social pressures men can face, but also provide a safe space for them to reflect on their own emotions without judgment. Their music helps break the harmful stereotype that men have to be strong and unfazed by everything. Instead of viewing vulnerability as weak, they encourage fans to use it as a source of strength. It's all about the perspective. Another way BTS challenges traditional masculinity is their approach to fashion. They often wear clothes that defy the traditional male dress code, favoring androgynous styles. Merriam-Webster's definition of androgyny is the quality or state of being neither specifically feminine nor masculine. These outfits are bold with bright colors and intricate designs. Along with their clothes, they often apply makeup and jewelry to complete their concepts. For instance, in the DNA music video, V can be seen wearing a glittery jacket paired with subtle makeup and stylized hair. Another example of this is in the Idol music video, where the members rock an eye-catching, vibrant, and heavily styled look. The outfits blend modern fashion with playful, experimental elements like vibrant colors, bold accessories, including layered jewelry and earrings, which creates a look that challenges Western gender expectations. They've also been seen in dresses and skirts, which are typically considered feminine, and it's uncommon for them to dye their hair every few months. By confidently blending masculine and feminine elements into their clothing choices, it directly challenges the conventional view that men must dress a certain way and also encourages fans to rethink gender norms in fashion. Clothes and styles should be a medium of personal expression without rules that dictate what is allowed based on their gender. And no, I'm not trying to convince you to start putting on makeup or start wearing skirts. It's about embracing your individuality in fashion and seeing it as a way to express yourself without the need to conform. At the end of the day, clothes will always just be clothes. What matters is wearing what feels right for you and looks cool to you. BTS's stance on emphasizing empathy and social responsibility through their public efforts help with subverting the traditional view of masculine men, serving to create a more compassionate and inclusive world. The Love Myself campaign was a collaboration launched in 2017 with UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund, that aimed to end violence against children and young adults. They've raised over $6.6 million as of April 2024, spreading the message of compassion and addressing issues such as bullying and mental health. Love yourself, speak yourself. It's a slogan that every fan is familiar with, and it represents the group's central theme and philosophy: to embrace who you are and speak up for what you believe in. RM delivered a short 5-minute speech at the United Nations in 2018. Even though it was short, one of the most important things he ended his speech with was, "No matter who you are, where you're from, your skin color, your gender identity, just speak yourself." He speaks on behalf of the group to advocate for positive change. This isn't only meaningful to fans, but for society as a whole. This changes how they view masculinity. In a world that often puts pressure on men to become an image of toughness and stoicism, being empathetic and empowering yourself and others isn't something that conflicts with strength, but rather enhances it. True strength is the ability to be comfortable with what society considers as weak, vulnerable, kind, and aware. I want to address some important concerns. Some critics can make the argument that BTS's way of promoting a softer approach to masculinity weakens traditional male ideals and contributes to the globalization of femininity, in turn leading to a generation of men who are less equipped to handle challenges and the harsh reality of life. Because they are so focused on emotional awareness and loving themselves, they are viewed to have lost out on traits like toughness, independence, and dominance, which are essential for leadership and success. These traits are important to survive in today's competitive environment. While it's true that there are certain situations where these traits have importance, masculinity has never been fixed and has always been an ever-evolving concept. There are different definitions of masculinity among different cultures, and what's seen as masculine can shift over time. The traits associated with traditional masculine views are not negative, and no one should feel the need to abandon them to become emotionally vulnerable. It's possible for men to find a balance between all of these attributes in order to embrace a fuller spectrum of masculinity. This inclusive definition allows men to keep fundamental qualities that make them strong and resilient, but also making them self-aware and empathetic. BTS promotes this model masculinity, showing how they achieved both sides of the coin. Ultimately, with such a large global outreach and devoted fan base, many of them use BTS as role models and a source of inspiration. Their influence on today's youth is undeniable. They've set a new bar and challenged outdated norms by embracing emotional vulnerability, defying gender expectations, and promoting individuality through both fashion and music. This could benefit parents who want to raise kids, especially boys, in an environment where self-expression is valued. This could also benefit educators who want to create more inclusive and supportive classrooms, and gender equality advocates who would want to break down harmful stereotypes like the notions of toxic masculinity in these communities.